Psychologists, what made you realize you were dealing with a sociopath or psychopath? Story 1. I treated someone who came to the hospital after a failed suicide pact. The other person completed it. They acted devastated, expressing guilt, seeming genuine. It was all fake. During their inpatient stay, they made another suicide pact with another patient, who later told us they were pressured to plan and set a date. Apparently, they'd done this with 3 others, using psych ward admissions to target vulnerable people. Story 2. School psychologist here. A student casually mentioned keeping his parents in line by threatening to call immigration to deport his undocumented mother. He showed zero care for his family. They had no control over him. His typically developing siblings were terrified of him. Story 3. Initially, I didn't know my patient was a psychopath, bonded more than with most. His criminal past came up. I knew he'd been in prison, but not why. After a month or 2, learned he served 2 separate sentences for sexual assault, classic dark alley predator attacking girls. He talked about it like discussing the weather. His total lack of remorse or guilt hit me with cold, primal fear, like almost stepping on a snake. Story 4. Mental health professional in a maximum security correctional facility. Psychopaths have a predatory stare when manipulating, unsettling, hard to describe unless you know this population. They're often narcissistic, overly charming, and try too hard to befriend you. Story 5. As a student, we interviewed a woman who killed her baby with a gun because its crying was unbearable. We weren't told she was a psychopath, just to hear her story. She read from her institutional diary, never mentioning sadness over the baby's death or regret. Only angry thoughts about her husband leaving her and turning her in. Justified the act because the baby was unbearable. Mad her husband didn't believe she had no choice. Intelligent, articulate, she tried making us pity her for being locked up. Later learned she sometimes lied about not killing the baby or bragged about it, depending on her audience. Story 6. Current prison psychologist. Worked with 3 people in 2 weeks who'd meet antisocial personality disorder criteria. Common trait, using behaviors as tools for self-benefit. They self-harm not for pain but to lure staff to their cell, incite violence, get extra meds, or transfer facilities. Story 7. My dad, a semi-retired psychologist, was director of psychology at a facility for severe mental disabilities in the 90s. Wanted to mix things up, started weekend therapy for non-disabled patients at our home office with a separate entrance. 3 weeks in, huge mistake. A burly patient got erratic during a session, pacing, acting unstable. Dad realized his wife and 3 kids were in the house with this guy. Positioned himself near the door in case the guy bolted. Patient noticed, pulled a gun, said, "Don't worry, if I wanted to hurt you or myself, I'd have used this." Dad used skills from violent patient work to de-escalate, got him to put the gun away, escorted him out. Never saw patients at home again. Mom was pissed. Story 8. Worked in maximum security men's prisons. Dealt with 2 sociopaths, a serial grandma assaulter and a triple murderer. Both had similar fantasies. One lived on an orbiting spaceship after all humans died. The other was alone on Earth with animals. Checked their records. No prison/hospital overlap. One was in max security his whole sentence. No mingling. In Australia, solitary isn't as common as in the US, supporting their sociopathy diagnosis. Neither showed remorse or empathy, justifying crimes. They deserved it. Not my fault. They shouldn't have been there. Story 9. Not a psychologist, dated a psychopath, realized years later. Their emotions mirror others to seem socially appropriate, not because they feel them. They blend in, appear normal. Narcissistic. Everything revolves around them. Always blame others. Never at fault, but take credit for anything positive. Believe they're more important than they are. Manipulate without feeling, enjoying control over others like puppet masters. A saying stuck with me: you don't know someone until things don't go their way. Story 10. Prison psychologist. Sex offenders churn my stomach. Many have treatable disorders, but some justify actions. It happened to me. It's legal elsewhere. Or blame victims. Parents should have taught them better. I redirect, can engage with that. Story 11. Worked with a sociopath colleague. Realized post-consultation they've manipulated me. A relative got an unofficial sociopathy diagnosis as a kid. Doctors avoid official diagnoses under 18. She was extremely manipulative, switching from normal to stone cold instantly. Parents forced therapy. She stopped as an adult. Now lives a normal life. Still manipulative but hides it. Seems charming. Normal job. Switches every 1 to 2 years. Boyfriends last only while useful. No real friends. Story 12. Woman who believes she has sociopathy. I fake empathy and emotions, not to manipulate but to fit in due to social pressure. People get weird if you don't mirror emotions. In customer service, I'm good at meeting people halfway emotionally. Coworkers find my sudden expression changes hilarious once customers leave. One said I'm terrifying, unreadable, can feel rage with a smile. I minimize manipulation, not a serial criminal. Have a loving family, raise an emotional kid well. No desire for human connection, but do it because I'm educated to know I should. Women with sociopathy differ. We adhere to social rules more due to early conditioning. Didn't want my son at first. Now 11, I love him, though not like other parents. Struggled with affection as a baby, felt uncomfortable but did it. He's my best friend now. I'm comfy being affectionate with him and friends since motherhood.